All right, so today I wanted to talk about something that's a subject that kind of gets breezed over really quickly, or it's not really a subject that's even talked about at all. Whenever you're starting a business, you don't really realize how important it actually is that you are aware and understand this concept, and what it is time management. When you're starting out, I know firsthand that there's going to be about a million things you feel you need to get done and need to do. And honestly, you probably feel like they need to be done right now, today. All of it's got to be done. Look, first off, you're not going to do everything all in one day or 2 days. It's going to take weeks. It's going to take months. The thing is you got to choose what you can do in small portions and slowly build up to getting it completed. And why it's so important that you have time management is because I have done it time and time again where I had plans or I had something that needed to be done, and I got started on a project or a portion of a project. Next thing I know, the whole day's gone and I did not get the other things done that I needed to. So where I could get lost in, say, doing a particular project that I don't need done, and it doesn't have to be like done today. It's something that could take some time to build or to get done. I could have done for a couple hours, literally 2 hours. And there was some other things that I needed to do. I needed to catch up on my payroll, or I needed to catch up with, just getting some legalities figured out for stuff that's going on with my business right now. So you got legal constantly juggled. You got your accounting constantly juggled. You're trying to go through and make sure all your stuff is right with your financials. You need to be doing cold calls and getting more work in the door. You need to be doing the projects that are in front of you. All these things are going on all at once. Don't let it consume you to the point where you just don't do it, because they have to be done. But if you can take the day and use time management, break it down into small sections, that's where things tend to get manageable, and you start understanding you don't let time rule you, you rule time. And when you rule time, when you control time, you truly control where you're headed with your business and with your life. Because if you let things just slip by out of your control, things are going to happen just haphazardly. Versus if you say, let's just get an example. First thing you wake up in the morning, all right, you're going to start right at 8 o'clock. You got a project going on right now. Say you got it in the shop, okay? You got a project, you got a couple weeks before it needs to be done. You're halfway done with it. Okay, you can do 2 to 3 hours worth of work on this project. You get out there, you work on it for 2 to 3 hours, all right? 3 hours. So you start at 8 o'clock. What are we at now? We are at 11 o'clock, all right? Now, you're going to take lunch at noon, so you got 1 hour. Let's go ahead and sit down for 1 hour. I'm talking 11 to noon, minute to minute. Sit down, start making some cold calls to the general contractors that you haven't talked to yet, or all the shops around you that you haven't communicated that you have services with. Let's sit down and do that. Okay, 12 o'clock. All right, how long do you need to have a lunch? Do you need an hour-long lunch, or can you eat in about 30 minutes? I honestly can scarf down my food in about 10 to 15 minutes, and I don't need any longer. So it just depends on what you want to do. So let's just say you take lunch from 12 to 12:30. All right, now you come back at 12:30. Well, you just got an invoice that came in. Okay, you just got paid for an invoice. Awesome, from a previous job. So you need to make sure you deposit that. All right, if you do it mobile or if you got to go to the bank, you do it. So you got 12:30 to 1:30. You spend an hour getting all your invoices punched in. Any that you have ongoing, you have invoices punching in for your accounting. You got your, you got your deposits going in, and then any expenses that you have, you want to make sure going through your accounting programming to make sure everything's categorized and you got it all in there. Okay, so you're sitting at 1:30 right now. You got all that. Well, it come to find out that you got something going on with legal right now. Just like a current situation with me was, you got to make sure you're, what was it? Workers' comp. There we go. That was the issue. Workers' comp. You got to make sure that you're up to date with it. Okay, well, you got to spend about an hour and a half. Those are the worst when you're trying to figure things out. You got to do some calls. You got to call the state, make sure you're up to terms. Call your insurance guy. Make sure that you're covered if you need it. If you don't need it, what he suggests, what he advises. And so, you get that all figured out. Come find out you just spent an hour, hour and a half. You don't need to do anything. You're doing good. Okay, well, that's part of your day gone. So from 1:30 to, let's say, 3 now, okay? Well, if you're going to work till about 5 o'clock, you still got 2 more hours to go. So now you have time to press forward. Say if you're doing something like me, I try helping and advising in any way I can and try to have a social presence. So I spend a couple hours on making videos or editing videos or replying to comments or any number of these things, expanding my my horizons. Well, okay, that you can do that for about an hour, let's say, an hour and a half. That'll get you about 4:30. Okay, well, now it's already looking like my day is not going to end at 5. It's probably going to be closer to 6 because knowing me, guess what? You got to have continued education. You got to keep putting things in. You got to keep learning. Otherwise, you're just stagnant. So I pick up a book, a business book. I'm watching a business YouTube, or I'm reading a blog, or I'm listening to a podcast, putting all this stuff in. So for everything that I put out, I'm putting more stuff in. So I'm learning and adapting. So next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock. Now that is a well-organized day, and that's if everything went well. Let's go back to what would probably happen if you don't take control and have time management on your day. You got invoices you got to take care of, and you got deposits you need to take care of. You could do social media, but you don't really have to do it, but you want to. Okay, you have this thing that comes up somewhere in the middle of the day that is workers' comp you got to figure out. Well, that's going to happen in the middle of the day. You don't know about it. So it's like, I got this project I got to work on. So you just stick your head down and you decide you're going to work on it all day. 7 hours go by and you're working on this project, right? That you had more time to do. I'm not saying don't do projects that need to be finished immediately, but you had time to do it, so you could have allotted for other things. Well, 7 hours go by. This thing comes up in the middle of nowhere that you need to make sure your workman's comp is going on. So, you start at 8 o'clock, you take a lunch somewhere in there. So 7 hours later, what are we looking at? We're looking at 5. We're looking at like 1, 2:30. And by the time you take a lunch and everything, so you got your 7 hours in work. You had this thing come up in the middle of the day, so now you're on the phone from 2:30 to about 4 o'clock trying to figure out what's going on just to find out that it was a waste of time. Well, now it's 4 o'clock. And now you realize, oh shoot, I've got all these deposits I got to go make. I need to go to make them before the bank closes, and I got to put my other invoices in, and I got to make sure and categorize everything. Okay, well, you go and do that. Well, guess what? Now you're looking at, hour and a half later from there, it was 4, you're already looking at 5:30. And you haven't even done anything with the other stuff you need to do. You have not taken the time at all to put anything in. Your day was completely consumed because you didn't spend any time managing time. You let time manage you. So, that was a lot of fast talking. Tried to blast through this as fast as I could, talking about time management. I hope it helped you guys, though. I hope you can kind of see that you can be so much more productive and get so much more done when you control your time and you decide specifically what you want to get done in the allotted time, and you don't let time just slip by you. Because if you keep allocating time properly, give it a couple of months to a year to a couple of years, you'll be amazed at where you'll be accomplishing 10 different things all at once in order, rather than just getting consumed with one thing and something else completely crumbling and falling apart. Because there's so many different dynamics involved with business, you kind of got to juggle them all. So you need to do them all. You can't just throw yourself into one thing only. You need to be maintaining all the other aspects of business. You got the business, you got the marketing, you got the accounting, you've got the legal, and you've got insurance. You've got all these different dynamics that you need to maintain. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you helped out tremendously. If it didn't help you out, I'm sorry. If you got any thoughts or anything, make sure to throw it in the comments below. I appreciate you guys' time. You have a great day. As always, I'll talk to you later.